Oh, baby, ladies and gentlemen across the beautiful Kyber Empire, we're back! And with some big news, we have the road ahead, which just dropped. We got Krayt Dragon Raid info. They confirmed Darth the Revan will be piloting the Leviathan. Fleet loadouts are finally happening! Give a round of applause to that. Only took years for it to happen, and a bunch of free giveaways coming your way to celebrate May the 4th. It's looking like the Krayt Dragon Raid is going to be early May. Let's hop over to it. Let's not keep it any suspense. I want to put a little complaint out there, CG. I get you guys getting mad when I'm playing other games, but I swear, every time I'm streaming Marvel Snap, my second channel, they drop big news literally minutes after I start my stream. I see what you're doing, Capital Games. Don't worry, I'm not leaving your game. But come on, at least let me play my other games I'm trying to dominate, so everyone in the chat say hi to all those on the main channel watching. Anyways, let's go into it. A lot of stuff to cover. We're gonna leave the long part towards the end in case you don't want to hear all the crazy kit stuff for the Krayt Dragon. Nonetheless, pretty cool stuff. If you want to see all my hype, I'd go to the first video today where we got the first confirmation Leviathan. All my excitement's up there. If you already got the Leviathan info, you're not gonna be as hyped about the rest of the stuff except for the Krayt Dragon Raid, which we already know about, but we got more details. So, April 2023, road ahead. May the 4th is around the corner. We have exciting news to share with you today. We will kick off this road ahead with the final details around the raid changes and the new Krayt Dragon Raid. Dive into May the 4th plans. We also have a new future quality of life as well as details on a new capital ship. So we'll start off with the freebies. May the 4th is almost upon us, and they always give out some free stuff out there. So, you know, Clone Wars Chewie shards, we can't live without them. It would be a smack in the face if we didn't get our 3 Clone Wars Chewie shards. I don't know how you can actually progress in this game without Clone Wars Chewie shards. 5 Zetas, some credits, 500,000 building materials. You can see all the stuff we got here. You know, free stuff is free stuff. This is great, right? I would love to have a full Zeta, but you know, I'm not going to be mad. It's a donation, right? It's just free stuff for playing. And then we have a lot of character shards, 5 shards kind of going across board, all very helpful ways of building up your roster. 5 shards here, 5 shards there. Again, nothing too material, but you know, who knows? 5 shards saves you a day for a particular character trying to farm, or that's shard shop currency. Interesting thing to note, Tusken Warrior is being changed to Tusken Huntress. I don't know why. I thought Tusken Warrior is fine. Maybe Lucas says, nah, it should be Huntress. I don't know what the deal is there, but I thought I'd put that on your radar. It looks like she's going to be getting a name change sometime down the road, but there's more. Don't you worry. We have another free calendar that's got MG100, TIE Echelon, Outrider, Raven's Call, TIE Defender, Omega, Ship Materials, Core Gear. So if you thought that wasn't enough, there's even more. And this is what I'm interested in. I'm on an Omicron crunch, Kyrotech crunch. I need as much as possible, so this is great. Unfortunately, it's Webster only. If you haven't been able to get on the Webster, sorry, out of luck, I guess. It sucks. I don't know. I think it's if you're a minor, you can't get on. I think it's certain regions of planet Earth you might not be able to get on. I'm happy to be on there, and I feel bad for those that can't get on there. We also have some double drops. Love me some double drops starting on May the 4th, going on to May the 7th. And it's going to be light side battles, dark side, cantina, fleet battles, mod battles. Oh my gosh. Hoard your energy for this because, oh my goodness, it feels good. It feels good when you're getting some big drops. All right, so what we're gonna do, here's our first little snippet teaser of the opening cinematic for the Krayt Dragon Raid. This is kind of when I was envisioning when we got first word of it. I imagine this really cool cutscene when we saw inside of Mandalorian Season 2, this big old Krayt Dragon just coming out of its cave. Cool to see some cinematics. Again, I give CG a lot of crap, but these raid experiences, we're playing this game because we want to live these bite-sized Star Wars experience, pocket-sized, bite-sized Star Wars experiences. We want to see the cuts. We want to feel like, oh man, that was cool. I feel like I'm a part of this action. It's great seeing we got some cutscenes. Can't wait to see the full entire thing. One thing to note before I get too far into this, let's read this red thing, which kind of indicates that we're probably getting this Krayt Dragon Raid in the first week of May. There's going to be a blackout period scheduled around April 27th and will last for approximately a week. If you don't remember, way back when we got the Krayt Dragon Raid announcement, they said they're going to black out the raids, meaning you can't do any raids. So if you're going to do some raids, make sure you start and finish before the blackout starts. If you even started a raid and blackout hits, you can't finish it. You're going to miss out. So make sure you schedule that with your guild to maximize your rewards for that week gap. And afterwards, I assume update hits around May the 4th, maybe. We get all these goodies and the Krayt Dragon Raid drops on us. So they discussed the upcoming raid changes. If you want to go on all that, it was a lot. Part of the top right-hand corner. Long story short, they're basically getting rid of the challenge rank raid. And they want you, as you grow, you're going to always only work on the best raid your guild can do. So if you're doing the Krayt Dragon Raid, you're not going to be doing the other raids. If you can't do the Krayt Dragon raid, likely you're going to do the Sith raid. If you can't do Sith raid, you're likely focusing on AAT, but no more doing 5 raids at once. 1 raid to rule them all. That's a long story short of all this. First up reminder, yeah, I already said that. Yeah, I already talked about all this. Just get your raids in. April 27th. It's about the last day you can do it. So we're going to come back. And if you want to sit here and kind of digest all this kit, so this is basically the whole entire Krayt Dragon raid kit. What's this big boss gonna do? We have all the different unique abilities. We have the event abilities that we got. We have all these granted abilities, hero unit bonuses, faction bonuses. I want to get to the other stuff in case you don't have time, but feel free to stick around more towards the later part of this video if you want to check it out with me. And we have these modifiers as well. Now remember, something with this event, it's gonna be kind of different. You're gonna be able to turn on and off certain modifiers, and the more modifiers you put on, if I understand this, and you can beat it, the better rewards you're gonna ultimately get more towards the very end of the raid experience. So if you played Marvel Strike Force, think of this as the Scourge raid. The Scourge raid went over pretty well for Marvel Strike Force users, where the more Scourges you put on, the more difficult you got, better rewards you got, and the better character you got at the very end of it. No word on what the raid reward is gonna be, by the way, in all of this. And they're keeping the last 3 tiers of modifiers as very secret. We'll go over this, come back later. Quality of life changes, oh my. I just kind of want to get to the one that really matters the most. My gosh, I was saying beforehand with my chat here, the second channel, it's like, oh my god, it's so dumb. Like the features, not that the feature's dumb, but it's dumb it took so long to do this. My assumption is now with getting more fleets, Darth, Revan's Leviathan, they're putting effort into this finally. It was such a simple thing. Great seeing it. Fleet loadouts are going to be a thing as we get more and more fleets. We have a Sith fleet, Separatist fleet, Galactic Republic, Rebel 1 fleet, Rebel 2 fleet, Bounty Hunter fleet. It's nice having select crew members and squads already built out. Not much more is needed to say about that right there. Also, they're going to add synergy indicators, kind of like when you enter battle. You know, you kind of, when you put your team together, you kind of see, oh, this is going to synergize well with X, Y, or Z character. And we also have some territory battle stuff. This is going to be great for guild leaders trying to keep track of success rates. Like, here you go. You have player make plays a lot. Over here, player name is so long. You can see how many waves they've been, so what their success rate is, what missions have they not done. I always emphasize this. This game, I feel like, could not survive as long as it can without guild leaders. Guild leaders are like the unsung heroes of this game. So make sure you thank your guild leader for making your guild function, well-oiled machines that they are, because without these tools, it makes it very hard for them to perform. I just want to give a shout out to my guild. We had the biggest territory war today, big guild, best guild against best guild. They were up all night coordinating. I do think we need some territory quality of life. Some didn't sleep. They pulled off all-nighters. Again, big shout out to guild leaders out there. Hopefully these tools help them out. I know there are third-party tools, but it's nice to have in-game tools for those that don't want to go outside of the Galaxyverse ecosystem. And then, of course, this kind of, the cat jumped the bag. Jumped out of the bag. I don't think they want to jump back in the bag. The Leviathan finally got announced in-game, and then this came shortly later. We already know everything about the Darth Malgus kit reveal, how it's going to be unlocked, and we also have a little bit of additional information we're going to put on your radar in regards to Leviathan. But here we go. The Sith fleet grows. A new king of fleet battles is coming to Star Wars Galaxyverse, commanded by Darth Revan. The Leviathan is a brand new capital ship that is poised to overcome both Executor and Profundity. I mean, Executor and Profundity, they're actually quite balanced. I do think Executor is slightly better on defense. Profundity is actually slightly better on offense, I think, and it's still decent on defense, but they're saying it's going to overcome both of them. Pretty bold stuff, and especially when you consider that you need a conquest unit to pilot a conquest ship, which is going to be a requirement for the Sith fleet. Maybe it could be understandable why they're planning on making this as beefy as it can. As with the other capital ship of the Sith fleet, the Leviathan was originally a Republic Navy vessel. This Sith interpreter ship was stolen by defector Saul Karath and turned into a formidable warship for the Sith Empire. With the focus on Sith and Sith Empire, Leviathan will turn the tide of the battle with an ultimate that will bring even the strongest fleets crash out. It feels like it's almost mandatory to have some sort of insta-kill for a Galactic Legend style fleet. So again, we have all that information later on. But to support this new fleet, we have a number of new Sith ships coming. We know there's at least 2. My suspicion is, I don't think we're going to get the Leviathan soon, because this ship is needed to get the Leviathan. So, well, you know, I think it's going to be a bit before we actually see the Leviathan. Utilize the new Fury class interceptor along with other Sith ships to unlock Leviathan in a limited time. There it is. Journey Guide Fleet Mastery. Make sure to unlock the Fury class interceptor from Conquest right away if you want to unlock this new capital ship at launch. So we don't quite know when the launch is, but we have confirmation that this will be a fleet master journey like Profundity, like Executor, and you need technically 2 conquest units to get there. So yeah, that's why if you don't get conquest right away and you're not 4 million GP, that's a big time gate. It's not like Executor. We can get Executor fairly free to play fairly quickly. This isn't something that you could just get by borrowing mom and pop's credit card. I mean, I guess you could, but nonetheless. And that's pretty much it that they have in terms of the big beats. All the hype that we had that should have been for this road ahead video was earlier on today. Extremely excited to see that Sith dominating the holo tables in the fleet side of things. And I think we still have a lot to talk about. We still need to know, all right, what are the requirements for the Leviathan? What's going to be the reward for the Krayt Dragon raid? And on that note, why don't we go check out this kit reveal, I suppose, for the Krayt Dragon. This is kind of a lot of stuff, and I figured, we'll save this towards the end. It's a lot of stuff to digest. Get it? Because Krayt Dragon likes to digest it. Good thing I got Malgus now, yada, 100%. If you don't have Malgus now, it's going to suck. And they said the next Proving Grounds, Malgus should be farmable. So you got to be 4 million GP, though, and then you got to wait likely a long couple months to finally get enough shards. Anyways, let's go dive deep into this whole mechanic here that we have for the Krayt Dragon. Basic ability, Bite. They put a lot of thought in that ability name. Deal physical damage to target enemy and daze them for 2 turns. Deal physical damage to all other enemies. And then when it's enraged, so when you hit like a timer or whatever, so many turns, eventually it becomes enraged. Pretty standard thing for all the raids in Galaxy of Heroes. You're going to stun the target enemy for 2 turns and daze all enemies for 2 turns. And daze could be a bit of a problem for things that get turn meter, things that need to get a lot of attack out of turns. Again, remember, it's only for specific factions, so it's not like you can use Imperial Troopers here. Hutt Cartel, Old Republic, Tuskens are kind of the core of what they're working with here. Acid Spray, man, I truly cannot wait to see this in action. Instantly defeat any enemies that are currently swallowed. The spell all buffs on all enemies, deal special damage to all enemies, and inflict defense down. Expose poisoned. That's new. Speed down and vulnerability. And what poison does, it kind of sounds like a little Raid Shadow Legend-y-ish. It's not quite the same as like damage over time. You have minus 50% health and protection recovery. Yikes. Can't recover health and health steal. Takes damage each turn equal to 75% of the total health and protection recovered since their last turn. For each time, health and protection was recovered during that turn. So that's going to be kind of an issue for a lot of teams, especially for Hutt Cartel and Tuskens. There's a lot of health, protection, recovery-based things on the team. That's going to be a bit of a struggle. And then we have Enrage. Defense down, exposed, poison, speed down, vulnerability, can't be dispelled or resisted, so you aren't escaping it. And so, you know, the hope is you get as big of a score as you can before you hit that Enrage timer. Swallow Whole. Cooldown of 4. Swallow target and remove their status effects. The Krayt Dragon gains 20 stacks of Defiance, and its speed is reduced by 25% while an enemy is swallowed. When Fearsome Defiance is removed, the swallowed enemy is returned. If the swallowed enemy is the last enemy, the battle immediately ends. Wow. This ability starts each battle on cooldown with 1 turn remaining. Swallow unit is suppressed. So I guess it's kind of like a fracture, sort of. That's maybe one way of thinking of it. If this first ability use this turn, reset its cooldown. My gosh. And then we have Burrow, cooldown of 4. Gain 20% bonus protection. And the granted ability, Emerge, until it is used or until this bonus protection is removed. While the Krayt Dragon has this bonus protection, it can't lose Defiance, health, or turn meter, excluding from bundles of explosives, which we'll get to. Its speed is reduced by 25%, and damage it receives from bundles of explosives increased by 400%. This ability starts each battle on cooldown with 2 turns remaining. So Enrage, when it hits the Enrage timer, damage the Krayt Dragon receives from bundles of explosive is no longer increased. It kind of reminds me of sort of like the door, the raid door inside of the Rancor raid. Emerge, deal true damage to all enemies, dealing more damage based on the amount of bonus protection remaining. Stun all the enemies for 1 turn. Then the Krayt Dragon loses all bonus protection. This attack can't be evaded. And we also have a couple unique abilities locked on this guy. Man, would it be crazy if you can like play this? Like I remember, you know, if you guys played Super Smash Brothers, there was like a mod hack where you could play as like the Master Hand. It'd be kind of cool playing as the Krayt Dragon. I'm just saying. Apex Predator. Damage the Krayt Dragon receives is increased by 75%. Whenever the Krayt Dragon is damaged, while it doesn't have bonus protection, so you really need to get bonus protection to stay off, and it doesn't have an enemy swallowed, it gains 6% to it. Controlling this bonus protection is going to be the critical thing on this team. Whenever an enemy takes a turn, the Krayt Dragon gains 1% Emerge. Whenever the Krayt Dragon takes a turn, it gains an additional 4% Enrage, 4% Defiance, and Whenever an enemy removes Turn Meter from the Krayt Dragon. So this is kind of interesting. The developers are moving away in the challenge rank rate from turn meter manipulation. You can remove turn meter here. So it's kind of interesting to see that turn meter control is back on the menu. It gains 1% enraged for each 10% turn removed. When it reaches 100%, the Krayt Dragon becomes enraged. The battle immediately ends after the Krayt Dragon has taken 5 turns while enraged, or if all enemies are swallowed. And then for each 5,000 points earned in this battle, after 50,000 points, this unit gains 3% off in stacking. So kind of like a ramping mechanism, like with the challenge rank rate. As you kind of progress, I believe it's every 20% in a phase, which people figured out how to cheese their way around that. The rancor would ramp up. People figured, well, we just hold our damage, drop it together, pass all that, and the developers were not happy about that. This seems to be a way to make it a little bit more in the developer's control, where they can ramp it up while you're in battle as you increase the damage on them. Then Fearsome Defiance. When inflicted the following debuffs, lose stacks of Defiance and remove those debuffs. If those stacks of Defiance are present, this unit is immune to these debuffs. Fearsome Defiance, lose stacks when inflicted with the following debuffs: Stun and Fear, 8 stacks. Ability Block, 6 stacks. Daze, 4 stacks. Blind, 3 stacks. Stagger, 2 stacks. Tenacity Down, 1 stack. So applying these debuffs are going to be critical to control the Defiance. What I'm trying to look for here, unless I'm missing it, again, a lot to take in right now for initial impressions. With this bonus protection, I'm wondering if like buff immunity will get the job done. You know, if you could prevent them from getting this protection up, that might go a long way. Don't worry, if you don't get it, it's fine, because it's only going to get even more complicated, because these are the base versions of the abilities without any modifiers. Now, again, to emphasize, you're going to add on top of this to get more points, better rewards. But we have these event abilities and bonuses. So just like you had the door aspect inside of the Rancor raids, it's kind of something similar to that, where you get a special unique ability or additional abilities to use. Or I think maybe territory battles maybe the right way of saying, because you have like this, you can get the snow speeders to come in and drop bombs and stuff like that. Bundle of Explosives detonates after receiving damage 5 times, dealing damage to the Krayt Dragon and other bundles of explosives. If the Krayt Dragon has bonus protection, isn't enraged, it also has its turn reduced by 15%. It's immune to all stats effects. And here are some granted abilities. We have the Fire Ballista, cooldown speed 100. This is kind of new, sort of ish. I believe the cooldowns in the old territory, like the Hawk, they had this cooldown speed type of thing that as more turns get taken, it kind of slowly ramps up. When you get Fire Ballista ready, deal true damage to target enemy 2 times and inflict Daze, Stagger, Stun for 1 turn. And remember, when you're applying those debuffs, it's hitting all these stacks of Defiance that they're going to have. And if a non-attacker uses this ability, it deals 15% more damage for each stack of momentum they had. This is probably gonna be great for, you know, our Tuskens, our Tusken Warriors, our Tusken Huntress now. Replant Explosive has a 100 speed cooldown. Plant 2 bundles of explosive around the Krayt Dragon, maximum of 3. This ability can't be used if there are already 3 bundles of explosives. And then here are the hero bonuses that we got. You're gonna get 100% max health, max protection on the heroes. At the start of this character's turn, they dispel all debuffs on themselves and reduce the cooldown of Fire Ballista, and then you're going to replant the explosives by 20%. When this character uses Fire Ballista or replant explosives, it reduces its cooldown by 40%. And then the first time each turn this character attacks on a turn, they have 75% chance to inflict a stack of damage over time on the target enemy. Whenever an enemy is inflicted with damage over time effect, this character gains 1 stack of momentum. This character has 30% potency and deals 5% more damage for each stack of momentum. Again, Tuskens, as we're going to see, they have faction bonuses. I just want to see how wild Jawas are going to be. We made Jawas work day 1 in the challenge rank raid, and it was like one of the best strategies for like the longest time. This character is going to be immune to poison, kind of a big deal as we saw. Damage this character deals is reduced by 50% whenever this character damages an enemy. It doesn't trigger a turn meter gain, and they have a 75% chance to inflict Tenacity Down for 2 turns again. Getting the Tenacity Down, trying to land debuffs, control protection up, control all the Defiance. These effects don't stack with the same effect from other faction bonus abilities. So as a reminder, broad strokes, Hut Cartel, Jawa, Mandalore, and Old Republic Tuskens are the only factions that can be used. So if you're sitting here saying, oh man, I can't wait for my Supremator Calren to dominate it like he has for like all the raids as of recent years, not allowed here. And that leads us to think, all right, there's gonna be more raids in the future, hopefully, that's gonna allow other characters, other factions to be included, and then these won't be used here. So Hut Cartel, whenever Hut Cartel damages a bundle of explosives, it immediately detonates and deals double damage to the Krayt Dragon. And at the start of this character's turn, you get to reduce the cooldown of replant explosives by 20%. So again, it's not Turns, it's just the cooldown. It's like turn meter. I think that might be the better way of explaining it. When this character uses replant explosive, reduces cooldowns by 40%. Jawas, I want to see what's going to happen here. I want Jawas to be really good, baby. Jawas, this character has 100% max health and max protection. At the start of this character's turn, they dispel all debuffs on themselves. Whenever a Jawa inflicts a thermal detonator on an enemy, damage that enemy receives from Jawas and thermal detonators is increased by 8% for each active Jawa. So if you have 5 Jawas, that's 40% extra damage coming out of thermal detonators. And we know thermal detonators inside the challenge rank rate, it was basically all the damage that would be processed is just solely through thermal detonators. So that's gonna be a lot of damage. Let's not sleep on those Jawas. I wish there's not really an incentive to go for Jawas. Maybe this is the real incentive. I mean, there's a couple Jawas for like, you know, Jabba, but not like a huge incentive to go balls to the wall here. Faction bonuses, Mandalorians. This character's immune to poison. Great. Damage this character deals is reduced by 50%. And whenever this character deals damage, it doesn't trigger turn meter gain on enemies, and they have a 75% chance to inflict tenacity down on all enemies. Again, tenacity down. It's pretty wild. It's a different raid concept. Generally, developers have been anti-turn meter gain, anti-turn meter movable, anti-like debuffs. Now they're just like, hey, go for it. We want you to apply it. And oh boy, it makes me excited that we can use Maul inside the raids. Like, Maul is such a fun team. One of my favorite teams in the game. The fact that we're going to take advantage of him there makes me feel very good. Old Republic. I'm not too sure how much of a role Old Republic's going to be. Of course, you know, you have Jedi Knight Revan, but, you know, Old Republic's kind of one of those weird things, but who knows? Maybe with these bonuses, maybe some Omicrons, some new characters, the Old Republic will be a bit more obvious. Right now, there's not a lot of reason to go in on Karth and whatnot, except they just unlock your Revans. Whenever an enemy is inflicted with a damage over time, Old Republic allies deal 1% more damage until the end of the battle. Sounds cool on paper, right? For each active Old Republic ally. The first time each turn this character attacks on a turn, they have a 75% chance to inflict a stack of damage over time on a target enemy for 1 turn. So we gotta wait and see. There really hasn't. Old Republic, the card team fell off pretty hard. There's really not a big need to go beyond what you need to get Darth Malik unlocked. But, you know, who knows? You know, that's kind of, I'm just putting it out there. Remember, Shorty is Old Republic. You know, who knows? Who knows? This might be finally one of those times where you're going to want to have your Old Republic built up for this. And then finally, Tuskens getting a little bit of love at the start of this character to reduce the cooldown of Fire Ballista by 20%. When the character uses Fire Ballista, reduces its cooldowns by 40%. And this character has an extra 30% potency and deals 5% more damage per stack of momentum. Oof, man. It's going to be a lot of fun with these Tuskens. Tuskens have been one of those weird factions that just get work done. We've seen it in Grand Arena time and time again. It's time for them to finally do some work inside the raids. And now the modifiers. If you haven't played Strike Force or anything like this, it's not going to make any sense. We have no other previous reference of this, really. I think the best way of describing this is think of a conquest where you're equipping data discs on you to help your team out. Imagine you equipping data discs on the opposing team, which sounds crazy, but the more you put on the other team, the more bonuses you get, more points you get, better rewards you get. I think that might be an easy way of explaining that. Speaking of points, you can earn even more of them by enabling additional levels of modifiers, and these are going to be incredibly important. Your raid attempts will only count if you submit the attempt, allowing you to retry without submitting a score as many times as you want. So that's nice. You just keep going back and forth. There's no cap. You know, like I believe, what was it? Which one? Was it Challenge Rank Raid where you only could do like 5 teams or 5 attempts and that was it? Do it as many times as you want. These difficulty modifiers allow many different levels of players to participate in the event. Base event difficulty starts around Gear 10. So again, people are like, oh, it's just another pay to win event. I can't play this for years like the Challenge Rank Raid. No, good chance. Most of you guys, Gear 10, if you're playing in Heroic Sith Trump Raid, you should be able to be engaged. That was the biggest concern of Challenge Rank Raid. They developed something that only a small portion could play. This is going to be accessible to a much larger portion. Gear 10 is by no means a big bottleneck. You can get in there, start having fun. Here's the modifier. So level 1, they require Gear 12 in order to activate this. So it's kind of like Datacron. You need to have Gear Relic, you know, apply them. You're going to need to have Gear 12 if you want to start throwing on some modifiers to make it more difficult on yourself. Krayt Dragon Raid's going to get extra accuracy, critical avoidance, critical chance, critical damage, defense penetration, offense, potency, speed, and tenacity. And then it's going to have its damage reduced that you're applying by 25%. It'll get some new slam effect, inflict stun for 1 turn if the enemy was already dazed, which can't be evaded. Swallow's going to gain critical hit immunity and tenacity up, and tenacity up's kind of a problem. But luckily, tenacity down overrides tenacity up. So screw your tenacity up. So that's not going to be too much problem. Like in the Scourge event at Marvel Strike Force, you kind of figure, all right, I'm bringing these characters in so we can overcome these effects, yada, yada, yada. The theory crafting this raid is going to be a whole other level, which I'm really excited for. Level 2, you're going to need Relic 1 to apply these. The Krayt Dragon raids is going to get 15% of all those stats we talked about, like we mentioned earlier, instead of 10. And the damage it receives is decreased by 50% rather than 25%. Acid Spray is going to inflict blind for 2 turns, which can't be evaded. And then Burrow will dispel all debuffs in the Krayt Dragon raid. And that's where you can start saying, all right, this is where the complications start coming in. And it's going to get offense up for 2 turns. And then we have our level 3, the last bit of intel they're giving us. You need Relic 3 to add these on. So instead of, what do we have here? So here they have 15% critical avoidance, critical chance, critical damage, defense down, defense penetration. My guess is this all stacks on top of each other. So you can have that turned on, that turned on, that turned on. You can turn that on. That's going to deal 50% more damage. Swallow's going to generate extra stacks of Defiance. And they keep us in suspense for the rest. They don't show us the level 4 effects, which need Relic 5. The level 5 bonuses require Relic 7, and it seems like the peak is going to be Relic 8, so that's steep. Not a lot of full Relic 8 teams in the game yet. We need to see how this whole points to reward system is going to convert. Are you going to need Relic 8 to unlock the new character? Are you going to only need the Gear 12? A lot of questions, more than answers right now. But I think what we can get at is that I think this is going to be definitely one of the more unique raids that we've ever had. It's going to give player control to the player and how they want to go about their raid experience. Giving you the control of tailoring a boss is pretty cool, and giving the player, as many players as possible, the option to engage in this content is a huge plus. I know a lot of people design their farming process, their journey in galaxies around getting to that challenge rank rate to get Relic 8s, and a lot of that's trivialized, which is why we've delayed the free-to-play farming guide, because I don't want to keep promoting Supreme or Kyle Red if the Relic Gates are going out of there and going in here. And how would you feel if you're farming for Supreme or Kylo potentially, or whatever else was great for the challenge ranker rate, and you're like, well, crap, I can't get relics, Relic Gate now, except through the shipments. Maybe they'll add a new shipment and stuff like that. It'll get you Relic Gates. There's more question answers. We don't have all the answers, and that's why we got to wait and see. And it seems like come May, all will be revealed. But I want to put it out there one more time. I'm really curious as to what this reward is going to be. I've heard people say Cobb Vanth. Maybe my expectation is going to be a new Mandalorian based off the Mandalorian season 3. I don't know if we're ever going to get a Galactic Legend Mando. Hurts to say. I think we can get a Galactic Legend on 1 or 2 other characters based on season 3. But I do expect we're going to get at least one more Mando that has his season 2, season 3 appearance, a Beskar spear, a jetpack. That's kind of where my money is right now. But you let me know down below. Long video, kind of like a mini podcast type of thing, I suppose. We're gonna wrap it up there. A lot of cool stuff. I can't explain how excited I am for the Leviathan, as well as getting a nice new piece of thematic content into the hands of the players. That's why we play Star Wars. We love Star Wars as fans. We want to live those moments together and have control over how we go about taking on those challenges. Leave that like, comment down below, and all your beautiful thoughts. Happy catching you again a second time today. And as always, remember, my friends, no matter where you are in the galaxy, just know that around here, it's great to be in the Empire today.